All right, so far I've got what I've made of the tub so far kind of just bent and in place a little bit. It's kind of difficult to get it in there, but just made these little tabs so I could bolt them into place so it won't be flopping around and falling out. It's pretty difficult to move it around in there without that. And then I've got one right there for the top, so it's fitting pretty good so far. And then I just made one right here, and I was trying to figure out what to do from here, but there's some rot in the car right here. It looked kind of weak right there, so I hit it with a body hammer and it broke through. So now I got to sit here and decide, should I go ahead and repair that now before I install the tubs or after? And I might have to go ahead and do it now. I don't want to leave it there because, I mean, what's the point in building a rotted out car? I'm not building a rat rod. And then the other side's kind of the same way. I don't think it's rusted through though. I might be able to, I don't know, clean the rust off and treat it, but I'm definitely gonna have to address this, so I might have to do that before I keep going. So I'm working on figuring out how to repair this rot right here, and I started scraping all the undercoating off so I could properly weld it and see what's going on back there, because this car has a lot of undercoating on it. But I wanted to show what I'm using. I'm using those needle guns right there, and then this cheap air scraper. And I tell you what, this is the ticket to getting this off, because my Firebird over there, when I was younger, I scraped all the factory undercoating off the floor, and I used a propane torch and a scraper, and it takes forever. But this is a lot faster, so I figured I'd show you how good it actually works. Well, I didn't know this was about to turn into an episode of Dirty Jobs, but here we are. It's turned out good though. It's easy to get carried away, so I was like, oh, I'll just do the whole inside. Well, yeah, I figured it'd be easier to do the inside of this while there's no tub in there, so. But what does make me feel better about it though is the quarter panel is really, really, really solid, so. But yeah, it's a nasty job. All right, so I got as much of the rust as I can cut out of there. I think it looks a lot better. Yeah, I gotta do some patching for sure, but that was just gonna drive me crazy if I left that rod in there. I mean, it's, what's the point in building a whole car if you're just gonna leave it rotting? So I'm even gonna try to take my sandblaster and try to spot blast all this crap real quick. And I mean, it still looks pretty good in there. It's got some surface rust type mess in there, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try to clean it up the best I can and spray some self-etching primer in there. All right, so I sandblasted the rust out of there. I mean, it just makes me feel better about the repair I even got in here. That's just like some undercoating spots. So it looks pretty good. Just makes me feel like I'm doing a better repair. And like I said, I don't want to be building a rot box, but the thing about sandblasting, it makes an absolute freaking mess. I can't stand doing it, but sometimes it's necessary. And just to tell you what I'm using, so I have a Harbor Freight sandblast cabinet over there. It's covered up, but and then what I do is I just take the tube and the gun out of the cabinet and I just jam it in a bucket full of play sand, and it works pretty good as long as you keep your play sand sort of fine. But yeah. Okay, so I pretty much got everything placed where I want it. I ended up dropping the rear end out because it was really hard to get this in here, this poster board in here, to more accurately trace it. So I knew where to cut, so I just went ahead and took it out. I mean, it sucks, but yeah, then I cut along here. I might have cut too wide right here, but I don't know. It is what it is. I'll fill it or fix it somehow. But I've got the poster board on here to try to make like my panel on the back side, and I traced along it, so I knew where to cut. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out and then take the tub out and then tack it together and then throw it back in there again, test fit it. I want to test fit it a bunch before I start really welding everything together But that's where I'm at with that now. And then before I final weld it in there, I'll finish making my patch panels. All right, so I got the inside panel of the wheel tub all cut out, and I had tacked it on the rest of the tub that I made and put it back in the car, and it looks like it's gonna fit okay. So I went ahead and finish welded it all the way around it, and then I went ahead and ground the welds down, and it came out pretty good. And then I just sprayed the whole thing in some self-etching primer. So I'm gonna get ready to throw it back in and weld it in. All right, so I got everything welded in. Turned out all right. I'm happy with it. I ended up just stitch welding it down here. I ground those welds down. I'm not gonna grind these ones down, but I stitched it all in here. This will all get seam sealer on it when I go to fix up the trunk. And on the inside, pretty much the same thing for the most part. Stitched it in here and all down here, and where there was a big gap, I just took some metal coat hanger and just put it in the gap. It worked really good. And then I didn't finish welding it down here because there's some rot down here I need to fix. So whenever I fix that, I'll finish welding it down here. But it feels pretty solid. And then on the inside, I stitched it all along the top. I'm not gonna bother grinding it. It's hard to see, but it's all stitch welded all the way around. So the only thing I gotta finish now is patching this hole. I made that hole for some tire clearance, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with it for the most part. So like I said, everything will get seam sealed once. I'm gonna probably use some like bed liner stuff on the whole inside of here. That'll look pretty good and help with sound and stuff. But that's pretty much it for this one. So appreciate you turning in. I'll probably make some more videos coming up. I got to do the other side, obviously, so it's no point in me videoing the same thing on the other side. So after I do that, I'll probably start doing some floor work back here. So that'll probably be my next video.